and it's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen by a romping 10-12 lengths.
So, hello and welcome back to the Road to Cheltenham Challenge Ronan Groome. 3 weeks to the day, we will be reviewing what has happened in a certain champion hurdle, Supreme Novice Hurdle. Ascot Chase will Riviere de Tell have reversed the form with Blue Lord. Will Edward Stone have won it for the Brits? Well, I don't think so. This week, Mr. Groome, listen, we're picking up traffic. The Make Racing Great Again campaign is well and truly underway. We're on the road to 2,000 subs and over 20,000 listens in the last 28 days. So doing really well, Ronan Groome, and you've just launched the Cheltenham Irish Field magazine, which you've loads of prizes for the listeners that you're going to tell us.
Yes. So you would have seen this on Thursday's show, but we're selling really well. It's got a nice reception over the weekend. This is it. I'm sure you can see in the camera there. We had to go with honeysuckle, of course. Loads. We're going to give away 3, but I'll just give you a quick review of the magazine so far. We've got loads of really good features. As you can see there, we've got Willie Mullins, Gordon Elliott, Henry de Bromhead. We've got Kenny Alexander on talking about the honeysuckle story. We've got Ollie Murphy and Paul Nichols from the British side. We've got Aidan Coleman there as well. We've got a brilliant interview, Pat Healy, 2 Kerrymen talking together, Pat Healy and Brian Cooper. And we've got loads of betting content with the brilliant Tony Keenan, very insightful always. And we've got Simon Rowlands, who gives a kind of time standard for each of the big races each day. So look, I would say it because I've got to edit this year, very lucky to do so, but I do think it's a brilliant magazine, something to get stuck into before in the next few weeks, just before the festival, to really kind of whet the appetite. You can get it for $6.99 on the Irish Radio website, or if you're in Ireland, it's in all good news agents as well. But we've got 3 to give away, Basil, and we were just talking off air how we do it. And do you want to lay out the details for our viewers?
You're doing such a top performance at sales, Ronan Groome. Why don't you tell them?
Right. So in 200 character or 200 words or less, give us your best bet for Cheltenham right now, and write it below the comments for the video, and myself and Basil will pick out the 3 best ones, and I will post you out a magazine this week. We'll announce it on the Thursday show. Barry, what you reckon? And
absolutely, but just to let you know, just be aware to the listeners, if you start typing Shishkin is going to be the Energumen, then you're not getting the magazine sent out to you, right? So that is the rules. That is the only stipulation. That was a joke, of course, but
you're probably being right. You're probably being true. There's no chance you're getting Barry's vote if it's a Shishkin vote. Yeah. So give us your best bet right now at the prices right now. Don't mind your portfolios and stuff. We all know we've been gathering bets all year, but right now at the prices, what's your best bet for Cheltenham? Tricky time. We're getting quite close to it now. As myself and you were talking off air, Barry. We're struggling for selections ourselves, so it is a tricky one. But give us your best bet now. 200 words, and with myself and Barry will pick out the best one, and we'll send you out a magazine if you're one of the lucky 3.
Yeah, absolutely. We did say that off air, Ronan. It has been a tricky week for selections, but that's later on in the show. To kind of give you a bit of a picture, we're going to be looking at the big race of the weekend. It was a fantastic weekend, or day's racing at Gorham Park. I was there on Saturday for Red Mills Day. We're going to be looking at selected performance of the weekend with a view to the festival. The tracker horse, the big race. The tracker horse. We're going to be looking at a listener's portfolio as well, which is something we started last week. Some questions from the viewers, the loyal listeners, and also giving our selections then at the end. So just to mention, we did have a winner because we gave away one of these magazines already, and we must mention Dermot O'Brien, who landed the very first Champ.ie 5-cast, Ronan Groome, with his 5-cast on Thursday's podcast. Yeah, good effort. I think you're being a bit too kind to him now, to be fairness. A lot of them were fancied. But
He's
Dermot, fair
landed 5. He's got 5 winners. I hope he did the accumulator now, and he's not just relying on a bit of free merchandise from Davy Boland and a magazine. I hope he put the 5 of them together now and won himself a few quid as well.
And that is something that we've introduced on the Thursday show. So the 5 cast is something that, similar to the Road to Cheltenham, we're encouraging people that we will be giving away prizes. Put in your 5 selections, 4 from the 4 feature races that we will be covering, and then obviously a wild card. Dermot O'Brien last week, Ante-Post, that was race 1, the Red Mills Hurdle. Mellon won the Red Mills Chase, Fakir Duderee, Goshen, and Good Risk at All was his wild card. So congratulations, Dermot. You can see my Twitter handle if you want to give me a DM or if you want to email Champ.ie at gmail.com. I'll put the email in the comments. You can email me and we can arrange for Mr. Golden Groom to send you out some merchandise. And Davy Boland, he's not getting away lightly. There will be some racings inside Track TV merchandise. And I'm going to we're going to have to develop our own Champ.ie merchandise, Ronan Groome. Can't be relying on you lads. Yeah, no, congratulations, Dermot. Let's crack on with the show, Ronan Groome. The big race review that we're going to cover this week is the Red Mills Hurdle, which saw Ante-Post. I fancy Quilixius in the race. He didn't seem to, I'm not sure if that was his true running. Was deep enough ground at Goran. Sorry, that's the tracker horse. That's not what I meant to put up. The big race review, the Red Mills Hurdle, Ronan Groome, take it away. Thoughts, Ante-Post.
Yeah, look, it was said on the show on Thursday, and I've said on this show quite a lot of time. I think 5-year-olds do struggle in open company. I'm always mad keen to take them on. I set the scene, even writing in the paper on Saturday, that it was a litmus test for both Quilixius and Ante-Post facing Saldier, who disappointed, but Durasso didn't disappoint. I think he ran close to his level in second. And Ante-Post, fairly, in fairness to him, he fairly hammered him. He went right away from him after the second last. He pulled 11 lengths clear in the end. And for me, that was a big performance now for a 5-year-old. The two of them, you know, as I said beforehand, it was right to kind of question where they were at. They'd only raced against each other, Ante-Post and Quilixius, and they'd raced at snail pace, really. So you didn't really know a lot about them. But this race seemed to be more properly run, and Ante-Post was quickened right away from a good horse in Durasso, who's good, solid form, good, solid 155 horse. And, you know, he's given him weight, Ante-Post, and an 11-length beating. So you've got to think that they go for the champion hurdle now, and he's a realistic contender in that race. You know, look, he has it to do to beat Honeysuckle, but, you know, he's definitely adds something to the race, I think, the champion hurdle. He's definitely place candidate. He's an improving horse, and yeah, I've always been against 5-year-olds in the race, but I guess the champion hurdle standard is regressing, seems to be regressing every year. It's not the race it once was, and maybe 5-year-olds winning in the race might become more commonplace from now on. And Ante-Post has a good chance of representing that age group quite well this year, I think.
Yeah, fully agree with you, Ronan, on Ante-Post. Thought it was an impressive performance. It was a fair test on deep ground. The pace was set, of course, by Felix Deji, and I thought for I suppose the way I suppose given the conditions, they did go. You know, they didn't hang about. There was a couple in behind. Obviously, we spoke about it coming into the race. I thought the 5-year-olds were open to a lot more improvement than some of the rest of the field, and I just wonder. I just wonder how many of them really, I suppose, got home on the ground, and most of his winning has been on, I suppose, I think 4 of his last 5 wins, or of his 5 wins, has come on either heavy or soft ground. It was a step up, as I said. He's a very strong staying 2-miler, and I think the strong pace in the champion hurdle is going to really suit him. So whether he's quite good enough to win, I'm not entirely sure. I thought it was a very good performance. It was disappointed with Quilixius. He really did disappoint me. And Ante-Post looks, I suppose, at this stage, a much more of a progressive horse. And he's a very robust sort of a 5-year-old, isn't he? As a juvenile last year, they obviously didn't take him to Cheltenham. They've given him plenty of time. Like he's quite a big, strong horse, I suppose, coming out of juvenile company. Would you agree? Like, do you think there's, you know, the 5-year-old rule, how relevant is it going to be? He could be open to a lot more improvement, is what I'm trying to say. Ante-Post, thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely, being a 5-year-old, yeah, he is open to improvement, and maybe I think you made the point that the race last year was very good, and I'm sure we can bring in Adagio in this point as well. I'm sure you liked his run in behind Goshen or Wincanton. I thought that was a big run. I thought that was not as good as Teopu, but wasn't far behind. And there's a big differential in price there. If you are fancying to take a swing at one at a 5-year-old in the Champion Hurdle, Adagio has got a great Cheltenham record, and I thought that was a big run in behind Goshen over at Wincanton. But just going back to Go Run briefly, did want to also ask you about the old tide turns coming into the straight there. Dennis O'Regan, I think he was traveling up beside Quilixios, and he just thought, what am I doing here? What is, because there wasn't much emphasis of any kind of pushing in the saddle from there on. I'm surprised he didn't get called in for a little 2-1-2 inquiry, but he's interesting going forward now when the handicap weights come out for the Boodles. That was a big run for a 4-year-old against his elders there. So we'll see how he gets on. But yeah, Teopu was good, and definitely I can see where you're coming from. Lots of scope to improve further. Could be better again next time.
His jumping is good, like, and he's able to. I think the deep ground is a help to him. I can't help but, like, obviously he's unproven on good ground. So who's to say he might? Who's to say he won't even be better?
Robbie Perez said that he hated the ground, and he told Gordon that he didn't like the ground at all. So they seem to think he'd be better on nicer ground.
I wouldn't totally discount him. And you mentioned Adagio, that was a cracking run because, as we said on Thursday's podcast, everything was in Goshen's favour. He runs a stone better, if not more, right-handed. Given, I suppose, the quirks and just his preference for deep ground and going right-handed. So a huge run from Adagio. And another horse that I suppose the Champion Hurdle picture, there's a couple of horses in there that we really do not know how good they could be. The likes of Adagio, Teopu, Appreciated, who's going there on his first run. So it's it's much more of a puzzle than maybe we thought it'd be a month ago, the Champion Hurdle. So, so that's that. Ronan Groome, selected performance of the weekend. What have you gone with?
Yeah, I gone for the Grade 1, the Ascot Chase, old Fakir du Duriz. Now, I'll pick the performance out, not necessarily for Fakir du Duriz. I don't think he might actually swerve Cheltenham altogether, to be honest, but I thought I'd do a bit of glory hunting here with my old Allaho bet for the Ryanair, my team captain, Fakir du Duriz. If you just look at his form this season, he's gone and he's won really impressively first time out in the Clonmel Oil Chase. He went into a lot of trackers then. People were saying he could be a big threat to Allaho that season. He's faced Allaho in the John Durkin, and he's been well held there. He finished 4th, I think. And then he's got Allaho, who's had his race after his seasonal debut, and he's got walloped again at Turles by 12 lengths. So he's lost Allaho 3 times now. The last 3 times he's met him, and he's gone over to Britain here and won a Grade 1. It's a bit of the old acceleration and Frankel kind of thing for me. It's like he's just avoiding Allaho now, and it just strengthened the form of the Ryanair Chase favourite even further. Look, on the day, I thought Fakir du Duriz was good. He stayed on well in the heavy ground. I thought a few of them in behind were very disappointing. Mr. Fisher, St. Calblas bled, I believe. Fanny and Desterval jumped poorly, travelled poorly for most of the race, still finished 3rd. 2 for Gold was in 2nd there. Possibly ran a nice Grand National trial. He's in that. £5 better off with his mark now for the National, so they might have a look at that. But it just strengthened Allaho's profile further, to be honest. Even if you didn't think it was much of a race, a lot of his potential rivals like St. Calvados there, who are quite high in the market, probably mightn't even run in the Ryanair Chase now. So a penny for the thoughts of Allaho's connection. I think they'd feel pretty confident. I could see him going off 2s on 4-9 on the day. He looks rock solid for the Ryanair now.
Yeah, so Ronan Groome, my selected performance of the weekend was one of your guys, Hillcrest. Hillcrest, first time up the 3 miles in the Albert Bartlett Novice Hurdle for Henry Daly. obviously, it was a little bit disappointed to see him come down in the Ballymore trial at Cheltenham, but listen, he absolutely pulverised him, Ronan Groome. He was sandwiched in between Green Book, Venetia Williams, Green Book, and High Stakes early on. High Stakes ended up out the back of the television. Green Book folded and finished 41 lengths behind the third Skippy Book. Hillcrest has look, he was a little bit more novice at his jumps, I felt, throughout the race. I thought he's jumped much better on previous starts. But this horse, the further he goes, the better he seems to be. And were the ears pricked at the line? Henry Daly said all he was doing was watching the other horses the whole way around. And yeah, for the sake of the nice guy in the Albert Bartlett, I don't want to see this fella lining up. I thought he was spectacular. And this is a Gold Cup horse of the future, I've no doubt in my mind. If he stays sound, he's a giant.
He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. I tend to agree with what Henry Daly was saying as well. I think he was just tapping along himself and doing it all within himself, And he's a relentless galloper. I think he would have went around again on the Haydock turf. So I think, I think Henry Daly was on Racing TV there this evening, and I didn't actually hear what he had to say, what the latest was on Hillcrest. But I think they were 50-50 maybe of running in the Albert Bartlett. But you're right. I'm on Manila Crooner there, back to Hillcrest for the Ballymore, which disappointing really, but that's the way it goes to Ante-Post. But over 3 miles, he looks even better in fairness. So no sour grapes there, and he's got a big chance. I think if they do roll the dice.
Yeah, and like there's an argument to be said. Like we've gone in on Albert Bartlett, you've gone in twice on the Bartlett. I've gone in twice myself actually with the long shot effort, the real whacker. But I don't know, it just was such a good performance. You look at Green Book, he was in receipt of weight off Hillcrest, albeit only £2. He's finished 99 lengths. He got his heart absolutely broken by Hillcrest. He's rated 137, so he's achieved a good rating, came through handicaps. You put him up on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. So obviously Venetia's horse is running well, and what he's done to him, I thought it was a really, really good performance by Hillcrest. So yeah, he was my performance of the weekend, Ronan Groome. What are you throwing into the tracker, which has been good to us? What are you throwing in this week?
I'm feeling you might like this one. You saw him win at Goran on Saturday. It's old Blue Sari. I think this could be a real nice one for the handicaps once the weights come out. Now I'll be keeping an eye on him. I thought he did it really nicely, and a good scalp now of Grand Paradis, who I know has been frustrated this season, but I thought he might get it together on the heavy ground. He was well back. The two of them were in a match, but he couldn't get close to this Blue Sari in the straight. And when you look at his form now, Blue Sari, he was only touched off by Farouk Dalan earlier in the season. That horse has gone on to be second on a Grade 1, and he won again today at Navan in a Grade 2. He couldn't live with Gallop on the Champ at Leopardstown, but there was no shame in that really, and he looked much better here. He's got his 3 runs now. He gets a handicap mark. I wonder would he be tempted by the Grand Annual. He was second in Champion Bumper, so he's got form at the course. Very interesting now going forward, Blue Sari, I thought. So he's in the tracker for me.
Yeah, interesting. I did like him. I actually had a nibble on Saturday on Blue Sari. I just wonder, would maybe something like the Paddy Power Plate be more suitable? I'm not sure if he, obviously it was deep ground. His jumping, has been good. I felt it wasn't actually as good, believe it or not, on Saturday. But his jumping has been decent. I think he's it's been a good transition. And of course, second in the Champion Bumper to Envoy Allen all those years ago. And course form at Goran, of course, would have was obviously a positive going into Saturday's race. But yeah, it'll be interesting. He's well found enough in the market for the likes of the Paddy Power Plate. I'm just looking at the likes of Grand Paradis, the two of them. Really, wherever they go in handicap company would certainly be interesting. I'm going to throw a bumper horse into the mix that ran on Sunday because I like putting these bumper horse that catch my eye. And there was one at Newbury for the John Joe O'Neill team, a horse called Fame and Concrete. Finished second at odds of 8-1. I thought he took a bit of a grip early on. I'm not sure he had the most luck in running and kind of stayed on quite impressively. I thought he was going to get there just till up. He was giving weight away to the horses in around him, the likes of Look Away, Naliador. I'm not sure the strength of the bumper, but I do think it's interesting. I think this horse, if he does run another bumper, I wouldn't be surprised to see him going straight over hurdles. He's a big brute of a horse now, this son of Fame and Glory. It was soft ground. I think the conditions would have suited him. So in a bumper, he's a 6-year-old. He's had quite a bit of time off. So I was impressed with the run. He was in the tracker previously, 343 days off the track. So I thought it was a fine return by Fame and Concrete. And he's a horse I like. He's only had 3 runs in his life. And I do think there's a race in him if they can keep him sound. So that's Fame and Concrete for John Joe O'Neill. Talk to me, Mr. Groome. Let's talk about listeners' comments and listeners' portfolio. Do you know what we'll do first? Because we didn't do it last week early. Let's rattle through for those who are not following the show all that long. And those who are, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed and you are new to the series, please do so. Hit the red button. But let's go through our selections today. And let's start with you, Ronan. I think we're in a healthy position. You know, when can the two of us, can the show come out and profit? It did last year with the help of Mr. Blair White. Talk to me about, I suppose, your portfolio to date. And are you confident of beating me this year?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll talk you through my selections very quickly because I don't want to bore the pants off the viewers who do this every week. Ellie May, look, she's borderline favourite now for the mares, and I think that's right. I think she's better mare than Concertista at the moment, taking on a novice there. Statuaire is a bit of a dud now. I'm not even sure she'd be declared for the mares novices hurdle, and I'm tempted to have a second stab at that this week, which I'll come on to later on. Riviere de Tell 12-1 for the Arkle is a nice bet. She's 1/3 of that price now, and I give her every chance. St. Felician is one that you'd just be looking out for when the handicap weights come out, so we'll keep an eye on that. Galvin, Run Wild Fred for the Gold Cup and National Hunt Chase, respectively. They have their chances. I think they're pretty solid. Run Wild Fred was a non-runner today at Navan, so hopefully he's okay, and they just decided to go straight there. I have another dud in week 7 was Knight's Salute for the Triumph. I think he's going to run this Saturday at Kempton, I believe, so he does get another chance to show. I just think the Irish juvenile horses have come out and really blown the pants off the British juveniles at the moment. So we'll see how that one goes. Hillcrest, as I said earlier on, I put him up for the Ballymore, which looks the wrong race now. Ahoy Seigneur, just hoping that they roll the dice with him in the Festival Novices Chase. Tiger Roll 6-1 for the cross country. You know, he's shortened right up now. He's 3-1 for that, which is good. Eric Bloodaxe, haven't given up on him for the Albert Bartlett. If they do decide to go, I think he'd have an outside chance, even though he's probably not going to be any shorter than 16-1. Have Manila Crooner in that race at 6-1. He's shortened up a bit. Tommy's Oscar, as the weeks have gone on before, I'm quite keen to wait for the weights to come out to have any handicap bets. So I'm kind of struggling for selections, and Tommy's Oscar was one last week that I went for without Honeysuckle. In hindsight, pretty soft one, to be honest. And then just Alaho, as I said earlier on, he's my captain. Delighted with him. He's 7-2 shot. I think if he goes in, I'll be in a good position for the week. With the way the competition is, he's 3-time stakes. So I've Phil Dore as well for the Triumph at 7s. I think it's a good price. Heaven Help us at 33s for the mares novices, probably my best bet on the card. Darver Star at 25s. He was a non-runner today, which was disappointing in the Boyne hurdle. But maybe if they decide to roll the dice with him in the Stairs hurdle, he could end up being a bit shorter than that. So that's where I am to date.
Great stuff, Ronan Groome. I'll rattle through my Mighty Potter week 1. And it is for the sake of the listeners who have just joined us, Ronan Groome. So we're not boring the pants. Mighty Potter 25-1, still value, best price. No bet is 12-1. That's bonkers. I cannot see how this horse doesn't go off a single figure price. I think he's an absolute bear. And I wasn't 100% confident that he would go supreme midway through the season, but a fast run 2 miles at Cheltenham, I think this horse he's going straight from Christmas to Cheltenham. I could see this lad stepping forward massively again. So if I hadn't put up a horse in the Supreme at this stage, and he was 12 to 1, 100%, would he be a contender to go in this week? I think he's good value at that, and goes for the race now at this stage. So Magic Days has been blue barring Ronan Groome. Interesting. For the Arkle, could she be a lively outsider? Last time we saw her, she disappointed behind Concertista. Look, that's not terrible form. And should she line up here and show something like she did on her second start, over Fences? Look, could she be each way value in an open Arkle, 20 to 1? Look, I don't know. I hope she gets there fitting well. Sporting John, a lively outsider for the Stayers, 20 to 1. I hope he does go there, not the Pertemps. Capadano was week 4 at 20 to 1 also for the National Hunt Chase. He's been scratched, I think. So yeah, that's dead. Tell Me Something Girl, 6 to 1 for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. She is the favourite, 5 to 2 in a place. I think I saw Tell Me Something Girl. So yeah, very happy with that one. Porticello enhanced his claim, still 12 to 1 available. This is interesting. Like, obviously he was on soft ground. What did he beat? Probably very little at Haydock. But for me, he's the best hope the British have in the Triumph Hurdle. So 14 to 1, happy with that. El Jagore de Vesse, 10 to 1 Ronan Groome for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. Yeah, she is 5 to 2 favourite as well. You can probably get bigger. There's probably a bigger available on her, but she's a cracking mare. Can't wait to see her run again. Blue Lord, again, he's been backed in from 7 to 1 into 3 to 1. Delighted with that also for the Arkle Chase. Buddy Rich, another one who's come for a lot of support. 20 to 1 Ronan Groome. Now as short as 15 to 2. Buddy Rich, all aboard.
He's in on Saturday, isn't he? They're going to run him on Saturday or Sunday even at Nice.
Don't frighten the life out of me, Ronan Groome.
He's entered, yeah. He's entered. Interesting.
Okay. Well, look, it's that's interesting because Gordon said he was going to go straight to the Grand Annual. What the hell? I didn't notice that. Appreciate it. 10 to 1. 8 to 1 for the Champion Hurdle. Again, goes straight. Saint Seagal for the Boodles, 14 to 1 for the Boodles Novice Hurdle. Again, he's a single figure price. The Nice Guy, 14 to 1 for the Albert Barta. Like his chances. And Korak Rambler has took a bit of a walk. He was a risky selection last week, Ronan Groome, for the Ultima. He ran in the Reynolds-Town, and to my eyes, he was travelling quite well when he came down. So going to the Ultima off a mark of 140. Bless yourself, folks. This horse could be coming down the hill travelling better than he likes to be held up. I think could be a very good mark for Korak Rambler. Didn't jump as well last time. His jumping disappointed me at the weekend, but part of me, I did see they put up a post after the race saying, see you again in 3 weeks. So 140 in the Ultima, I'd be very interested in him. And there's 25 to 1 available on him. So there you go, Ronan Groome. Let's get on to some of the comments because some interesting comments this week. First of all, Daniel H says, I love you both so much. Good man, Daniel. Can't decide who I love more. I don't know who this is. This could be someone ripping the absolute piss, Ronan Groome. I don't know who Daniel H is. I promise you it's not me. But he said it's like trying to decide who he's going to back in the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Thank you, Daniel, for your lovely comments. Jip Rossetti says he loves the show. Thanks, guys. It's great crack and very informative. So that was interesting. Some comments then, I suppose, Ronan, he'd love to hear. Look, Jesse James has been asking for quite a while about this Queensbrook, who's in tomorrow, Ronan Groome, and wants to hear our thoughts on Queensbrook. Which race do you think that she could run in? Would it be the Mayor's Hurdle, do you think?
I think he'll learn tomorrow about Queensborough more than we can tell him now. But he could be on some like she beat Ciel de Neige earlier in the season at Fairy House. She's obviously got that champion bumper form as well. She's always been well touted. The race she goes for tomorrow, same race Black Tears won on the way to the mares last season. So if you're on at a big price, Jesse, or you're on at a nice price, and she goes and gets it done tomorrow, I think you got a live one for the mares. Very competitive race this year, with the likes of Stormy Island in there and Tell Me Something Girl, Heaven Help Us. It's a good race. Possibly Burning Victory as well is another contender there. So but Queensbrook is interesting, definitely.
Brian Walker, long time listener of the show, said he's looking forward to the British going 3-0 up after the ultimate. Brian.
I think you need to read the rest of his comment out. Didn't he say he's then the Irish going to wallop them after that?
No, he did say that, yeah. But 3-0, what price, Ronan Groome, the British to go 3-0 up?
Well, you're taking what? You're taking Edward Stone and the Arkle, you're taking John Bonn or Constitution Hill and the Supreme, and then
the Irish
winner of the ultimate, which they won last season, one of their 5 wins. So it's not
they won for the last 20 years, Ronan Groome, so they have to win the first 2 races. I suppose if you're banking on Edward Stone, aren't you, going in the Arkle for the Brits to go 3-0 up? But wouldn't be beyond all possibilities, Ronan Groome.
No.
Hector Hugo, who was emailing us, he thought we'd gone missing, Ronan Groome. So Hector, thank you for your lovely comments. He said the cups of coffee Barry are fooling no one. He was fully sure there was something a little bit more stronger in the cup. So Ronan Groome have for Hector Hugo, a bottle of Orangina. There's nothing else in there, only a bit of orange tonight. So there you go. Hector Hugo. Ivan Anderson says, Ronan Groome, Tiger Roll on the steel. He must be impressed. He must be getting excited about Tiger Roll at 6-1. I think that could be a good price, Mr. Groome.
That's definitely a good price. He's 3-1 now.
Okay. What we do want to know is, who would you make favourite? So please let us know this week. Who is favourite to win the Ante-Post? Who is going to be the Ante-Post King this year? Is it going to be myself or the good Golden Groom? So, Ronan Groome, it's time for the portfolio spotlight. And this week, it is the turn of Stu Lightfoot. Stu Lightfoot from Gibraltar. I'm not sure if he's from Gibraltar now or he's in one of the offices over there. But we're gonna call out his selections and we're going to give thoughts. Fildor 6-1 for the Triumph Hurdle was week 1. Got some value, but he's drifted back out, but still has a lively chance.
That's alive. That's very much alive.
It's alive. Allaho, week 2, 7-2. Ronan Groome is going to agree with that. That's a very, very good price. Congratulations, Stuart. Week 3 selection, Bob Ollinger, 7-4 for the Turners. I still wouldn't back it at 7-4. Would you, Ronan?
Right now, no, I wouldn't back it right now.
No. Tyne Hill 8-1 for the Stairs Hurdle wouldn't be something I'd be interested in. How about you, Ronan?
Yeah, it's a live though. It's an open Stairs Hurdle, and 8-1 is probably a bit big for Tyne Hill. I think he's a shortened since that. I think he's 6-1.
Week 5, Sir Gerhard 9-2 Supreme Novices Hurdle. I think you might have got that one wrong, Stu.
So he goes to the Ballymore. Willie Mullins' press day is tomorrow, so a lot of movers and shakers coming out of that. I'd say there'll be a lot of content with horses going to certain races. So Sir Gerhard, we might know a bit more about where he goes tomorrow.
Run Wild Fred 5-1 for the National Hunt Chase. Congratulations.
Yeah, good solid bet.
Tell Me Something Girl 5-1 for the Mayor's Hurdle. Congratulations. Shishkin price taken 11-10. Champion Chase. Let's move on from that one. Portlock Bay 10-1 Hunter's Chase.
Don't have a clue. I wouldn't even look at the Hunter's Chase.
No, I wouldn't have a strong opinion. Riviere de Tell Arkle 7-1.
Good bet.
Brandy Love 9-2. Mayor's Novice Hurdle. You're trying to wind me up, Stu. That's what you're trying to do. Gaelic Warrior is interesting for the Boodles, Ronan. Could he get in off a low weight? He's plenty short, though, isn't he?
I would have thought so, yeah. It's just not a very hard one to get involved with. even though I'm half thinking of that this is going to be my bet this week in the Boodles, but without the weights, it's very hard to read. But he's going to be up there towards the top of the market, I'd say.
Yeah, Oscar Elite 33-1 for the Brown Advisory. I think this is an ultimate plot job, and he's on my radar. He was on my radar. He was on my top 3 horses to look at for the Ultima. Was Oscar Elite. I went with Correct Rambler, but I wouldn't be sure on that one. So that was a long range effort, obviously. So some good selections in there, Stuart.
You forgot his team captain, Ellie May.
Ellie May, great shout. Yeah,
great shout.
Great shout.
Well, rock solid shout at 4-1 at least.
Yeah, absolutely. So well done, Ronan Groome. Let's go. Selections for this week. Let's wrap it up. Let's conclude the episode. You said you're struggling. You gave a hint about Gaelic Warrior. Is it Gaelic Warrior?
It's not Gaelic Warrior. It's it's when I'm going around a bit way. I wanted to make Sir Gerhard a wild card for the Ballymore ahead of the Willie Mullins press day tomorrow, because I think he's more or less going to confirm Sir Gerhard for the Ballymore, but the price is dried up in anticipation of that press day. I think he's only a 6-4 shot now, so I'm going to swerve that. My other option was Mellon. I was going to take Mellon without Allaho and try and really chop it off in the Ryanair, but I think that's a bit dodgy, so I'm not even sure if Mellon's going to fully go there. So yeah, I'm going to break my rule of backing a handicap horse without the weights, but I think the Tide Turns is more or less a rock solid contender now for the Boodles. I have no idea what weight he's going to get. I don't know how the handicapper is going to read that effort, but I'm pretty sure he'll be competitively weighted, whatever he does. I don't think it's risky. I think he's a 6-1 shot now. Sorry, an 11-2 shot, best price. I think there's a fair chance he'll be around that price on the day. And instead of taking a swing at something like Mellon, that mightn't even run, and Sir Gerhard a bit short now, I'm just going to take one at a price that's probably going to be in and around that price on the day. So yeah, struggling a bit this week, I'm afraid. So not exactly inspiring decision, but I'm going for the Tide Turns in the Boodles.
It's a very conservative episode, Ronan Groome. I can sense the competition. I don't want to take a wild swing. It was exactly my own thoughts. And I've come down the race, I've come down right through the races. As we said last week, that I think I had 15 races that I hadn't touched. One of them was the Gold Cup. And I think, do you know what? There's no more trials. All the Cheltenham preview nights are starting. There's nothing in here at any sort of a price that interests me more than A Plus Tard for the Gold Cup. Okay, and this horse, for me, he goes off favourite. For me, he goes off, I don't think he goes off any bigger than 9-4 on the day, A Plus Tard. He's still progressive. He's had 13 runs over fences, right? Which is, I suppose, a stat really that could potentially that could be a stat that could go against him. I'm not mad into these stats anyway, but only 6 of those runs have come. Sorry, it will only be his 6th run over 3 miles or 3 miles plus. And I think the best form, looking at this Gold Cup picture at this point in time, is last year's Gold Cup. Galvin, for me, obviously he's a dour stayer, National Hunt Chase winner last year. He's the course form. I'd be disappointed, as I said to you already, if Galvin was to win the Gold Cup. You have him in the team sheet. I'm not sure A Plus Tard. He bet Plus Tard at Christmas, but I don't think that was the real A Plus Tard. When he won at Haydock, the Betfair Chase, for me, I looked at A Plus Tard and said, this horse is after really improving. He was wound up on the day. I'm not sure whether they wouldn't have done a whole lot more with him, or I'm not sure they would have done a lot with him between the Betfair Chase and Christmas. For me, it wasn't his true running. He didn't hit the line as hard as he could. Manila Endo, look, you're probably going to say, they're gearing him up for another attempt, but just given the way he ran in the Betfair Chase, to me, it was a big disappointment. And I'm not entirely sure what to make of I suppose that race as a whole. At the Dublin Racing Festival, and for me, it's just a bit of a punt to be taken as short as 5-1 on him. Protectorat, he'll be lapped in the Gold Cup. Can't have that whatsoever. And the other one that interested me in the market was Alboom Photo. And if you're talking about 13 runs over fences for A Plus Tard being a negative, look, it is a negative for Alboom as well. And you just do not know, I suppose, regaining a Gold Cup. If any man is going to do it, it's going to be Willie Mullins. And it was between them two, and I've just come down on the side of A Plus Tard. I think at the prices, he's not going to be anything like 10-3 on the day. That's the price I'm getting him in. It's available with 2 bookmakers. There's 7-2 available in a place with the new kids on the block, SBK, but for the sake of the competition, Betfred and Boyles both go 10-3, and I'm going to stick A Plus Tard in there. At the start of the season, like, is there anything, and here's a question for you on the Gold Cup market, is there anything here, is there anything else in here, in your opinion, at a double figure price that could shake things up a little bit? I mean, Chantry House was one that I liked at the start of the year, but I'm not sure.
Chantry House, I think, has a place chance. I could see him staying on well, as I mentioned earlier in the show. Tornado Flyer, the Kempton run, stayed on really well there. Fiddler on the Roof, I thought ran a big race. I'm not sure if they'll be tempted to go for the Gold Cup, but I can see him being that stayer who runs on. Like the Gold Cup, look at them the years, all the horses that have finished second and third, big price horses, huge price horses. So I wouldn't put anyone off backing one at a big price, backing one place. Fiddler on the Roof, I thought ran a nice race on his comeback at Ascot. I've backed him for the National. Don't mind him coming here for the Gold Cup and running a big race. I think he's an out-and-out stayer. Santini.
Oh, here, Ronan. Do you know what? That's going to be the end of the episode. Listeners, thanks for listening to the Road to Cheltenham Challenge, episode number 14. I'm just going to cut it off now when we're ahead. It's been a very conservative episode. And just to highlight, that was my Ante-Post selection. A Plus Tard, 7-2 for the Gold Cup. It is getting very competitive, and the Cheltenham Preview Nights are starting. We will have details of our Champ.ie Cheltenham Preview in the coming days. We look forward to the podcast on Thursday. And don't forget, if you haven't already been so good, make racing great again. Subscribe, hit the red button to the show. And it's the campaign, isn't it, Ronan Groome, to get us up to 2,000 subs before the Cheltenham Festival. And look, it's been a pleasure, Ronan Groome. I'm sorry, I just couldn't let you away with that Santini one. We'll see you on Thursday, and we'll see you next week for the Road to Cheltenham Challenge, episode number 15.
Inside the final 150 yards, this is a special year, and it's a Hattons for the break. And it's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen by a romping 10-12.